So while I'm waiting on my incentive to arrive at the door, a little Chinese delivery, I wanted to talk about identity because today I done a radio show, threw it together really because I didn't have a guest. So I wanted to talk about stress awareness and really all the ways in which we can be more susceptible to feel stress, looking at brain function, looking at ways in which we clutch an identity, ways in which we can become more emotionally reactive or be in fight or flight mode. So I did cover as much as I could with my ability at the time. I mean, look at all the books. Look at all the books that I had planned to incorporate into my show, all that knowledge, all the things that I took note of, journals, post-it notes, blooming mangled paperbacks that I've had out in the garden. And do you know what? I never even get through half of it, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because your intention is there, and that is what you need to remind yourself of. What I've noticed is I want to share it all in a winner. I want to get it all out there, and you can't do that. You need to take things bit by bit. And usually, all the things that we need to learn are actually things that have been accumulated over years and decades. So you can't just sum it up, and you can't just reset your mind and change perspective based on all of these intrinsic factors in the space of like an hour. And I'm actually trying on my own journey to be less critical of myself because I did notice that an identity that I've clutched at for a number of years is looking at the ways in which I should have done something differently, looking at the faults, picking them out, looking at what I should have said or didn't say or shouldn't have said or should have put a different way, or absolutely dissecting myself instead of actually saying, do you know what? You managed that and you had X, Y, Z going on in the background, and that's an achievement, and it's actually bettering yourself from who you were yesterday, and that's what should matter rather than all the things that you feel you didn't do right. Look at the things that you did do right, and it's identifying imprints. So I identified an imprint in me, which was not my voice. It was the voice of external critics. It was the voice that made me hypersensitive to judging my own performance. And I say performance, I mean that in every sense, not just creatively or from like a radio presenting perspective or a therapist perspective or talking on a video via Instagram perspective. I mean like performance in life in general. I identified an imprint. And once you identify imprints that you have maybe carried around for a long time, things that have been imprinted onto your energy field through the belief systems of those around you, through adolescence, through your upbringing, through limitations and ways in which your parents lived in fear and your parents were hypersensitive to judgment, or your parents had high expectations, your parents were real critics as well, and tended not to point out your skills and things to be proud of. Perhaps they had a tough love and they told you to focus on the ways to better your performance and the way that you were every day. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I just wanted to say that identity is a huge thing. And when you start to realize that you're clinging on to an old identity, whether it be imprints from your past or an identity that you used to be, maybe it's something that you don't really feel works for you anymore, but you're clinging on to that identity that you used to have, and you're still trying to make yourself valid in a particular field or in a particular environment, in a particular job, or a particular peer group. It's really important to recognize that and gently allow yourself to let that go, because when it comes to stress, we can really be manifesting a lot of triggers and a lot of pressure that we're laying upon ourselves based on imprints and false identities that no longer serve us purpose. So cheers to you. And you can't read my mug because it's in selfie mode, but it says that I'm a number one Dugmaw. So yeah, enjoy, and I hope you set yourself incentives as well, because that again helps to encourage you to be a better version of what you were from yesterday, or even just to get through something as simple as getting through the day based on all of the circumstances around. It's good to have incentives, and it's good to remind yourself that you are doing bloody brilliant.